When we see the Great Pyramids of Giza, what do we think of? We think of a big desert, mummies, and, most of all, we think of them as a giant tombs for the pharaohs. But is that the whole story? For hundreds of years, these buildings have amazed us. But they are not just buildings. They are key to understanding the state system and social structures of ancient Egypt. Today, we are asking one main question. How did building the pyramids during the Old Kingdom shape ancient Egypt? We will argue that the pyramids were the most important tools that strengthened religious belief, showed political power, and shaped the economy. To do this, we will look closely at the evidence from the ancient texts to modern archaeology.
Let's start with religion. The pyramid was a holy place, a tool to help the pharaoh reach the afterlife safely. This was not just for the pharaoh. The people believed his successful journey would protect all of Egypt from chaos. Our best evidence for this is our first primary source, the ancient Egyptian pyramid texts. These are not just decorations, they are a collection of hundreds of religious spells written by priests directly on the walls inside the pyramids. They are a guide and map for the pharaoh's fold, telling him how to navigate the dangers of the afterlife. This source is our direct proof for the religious perspective. To understand why this matters, we use our first secondary source, Jan Assmann's The Search for God in Ancient Egypt. Assmann explained how these difficult religious ideas connected the pharaoh's power. The pyramid texts prove the pharaoh was divine. By building this huge structure, the pharaoh was not just saving himself, he was proving he was a god who could control the afterlife and protect his people.
This religious power is also political power. The pyramids were a message. They showed how powerful the pharaoh was. No one could question the power of a leader who could build something so big. Our second primary source, the Histories by Herodotus, shows us it. Herodotus was a Greek historian who visited Egypt much later, in the 5th century BCE. He heard stories from the locals and famously wrote that 100,000 slaves built the pyramids. Now we believe this slave story is wrong, and we will explain why in a minute. But Herodotus' account is still very useful. It shows how, even hundreds of years later, the pyramids were seen as symbols of incredible, almost scary, power and control. This connects to our secondary source, Barry J. Kemp's Ancient Egypt Anatomy of Civilization. Kemp explains that you cannot build a pyramid without a powerful, centralized government. You need to organize tens of thousands of people, get stone from away, and feed everyone. The pyramid proved the pharaoh was in complete control of the state.
This brings us to the most important part of our story, the economy, and the amazing system behind it. You see, building a pyramid was not just about moving big stones. It was actually about inventing a complete new way to run a country. As our secondary source, Barry J. Kemp explained in his book, a project of this huge size is impossible without a powerful, centralized government. Before you can cut even a single stone, you need a strong team to organize the whole nation. You need an army of officials and the writers, known as scribes, to count every single loaf of bread, collect taxes from the people, and manage all the tools. This new system transformed Egypt into a unified economic machine where everyone worked for one goal. We see direct proof of this system in the Diary of Merer, in our primary source, which is the oldest papyrus ever found. This ancient logbook was written by a middle-ranking official named Merer during the time of Pharaoh Khufu. It's not a story, but a work record that details daily transportation of limestone blocks by boat to the Great Pyramid. Merer recorded every single activity his team did, which proves that the government watched and tracked every movement and resource. This shows us that pyramid was built by careful planning and smart management, not by chaos.
Now that we understand the system, we must ask, who were the actual people doing the work? For a long time, because of the historian Herodotus, everyone believed that 100,000 slaves were forced to build these monuments. However, the evidence from the bureaucracy tells a completely different story. Our final secondary source, the archaeologist Mark Lehner, discovered the lost city of the pyramid builders at Giza. In this workers' village, he found massive bakeries and breweries capable of feeding thousands of people every day. Even more importantly, he found the bones of cattle and fish. This is crucial evidence because in ancient Egypt, meat was very expensive. Slaves are not fed expensive meat. Only respected workers are. This proves that the laborers were skilled paid and well taken care of members of society. They lived in organized communities with their families. So, Merer's diary proves the logistics were organized by the state, and Lehner's archaeology proves the workers were treated well. Together, they show that building the pyramids was a national economic project that united the country, rather than dividing it through slavery.
So let's bring all these pieces together to answer our main question. We have seen that the pyramids were much more than just piles of stone. Through the pyramid texts, we saw the religious role. They were holy machines connecting the pharaoh to the gods and protecting Egypt. Through Herodotus and Bergkamp, we saw the political role. They were powerful messages that showed the pharaoh's absolute authority to the world. And finally, through the diary of Merer and Mark Lehner's discoveries, we saw the economic reality. They were massive national projects built by skilled, paid workers, not slaves. The construction of the pyramids brought the country together. It created a centralized government, unified economy, and shared religious purpose. As we conclude, remember this. The pyramids did not just hold the bodies of the pharaohs. They held the entire society of ancient Egypt together. They were the center of life, power, and belief in the Old Kingdom. Thank you for watching.
Oh, thank God. It was just a dream.